right, so I know Luann, you were here on Tuesday, and then Kathy, I know you haven't been in yoga this week, so I just want to take a second to kind of explain what we've been working on, just so there's some background and then some tips for working into the arm balance that we're getting into eventually today. We won't get there till almost the end of our standing practice, but we'll be working towards it. So first off, talking about chaturanga, this is one that everyone has probably heard at some point or another, but just checking the alignment of our chaturanga, which ends up being really important when it comes to any kind of arm balance. And with chaturanga, we always want to make sure that we're aiming for that 90-degree bend in the arm so that the upper arm is parallel with our torso and that we aren't going past the arms. It's totally fine to go less than that if you don't feel like you'll be able to get up again by going to your full chaturanga, but just checking for that alignment. And one of the key parts of that is kind of a big weight shift forward before we go into chaturanga. And this is really important for the arm balance we're doing today as well. So if you just watch, if I don't shift my weight forward and try to do chaturanga, everything just looks really wrong, right? My elbows are behind my wrists, all of that. If you take a moment to shift your weight forward, so literally pushing your heels forward, almost to where you're on your toes, you can then lower down and you get that nice bend in the arms. So that's the first concept, just to keep in mind today. So with that weight shift forward, you're gonna need that a lot later on. So I encourage you to just make sure you're finding that every time. With the arm balance we're getting into today, Running Man, this same weight shift is really important, and it'll make a lot more sense once we're actually getting into it later. But with Running Man, when you're getting into it, if you have a knee on your elbow and you don't shift your weight forward and you try to lift your leg, it's not going to happen. The big trick is that you'll eventually want to shift way past your arms so that you can bend, and then that tip forward happens to counter the balance of your back leg. So if you think of arm balances a lot as kind of a seesaw, that kind of tip forward and back of your weight, that concept helps with getting them to the right place to balance eventually. So just keeping that in mind today as we move through vinyasas and as we move through shifting our weight forward and back. So with that being said, let's start in child's pose. So bringing your toes to touch, knees to mat width distance, and walking the hands out in front of you, forehead to the mat. And just taking a moment to take stock of how your body's feeling today, how your mind is feeling, and how your breath is feeling. And also reminding yourself that within your yoga practice, it's 100% your practice. So especially when we start to get into arm balances and more extreme postures, I encourage you to only really go to the point that your body wants to go to today. So if your body says no to arm balances, feel free to skip them. It's always your chance to just let your body feel good within this class. So start to shift your focus to your breath. First, just observing it, not changing anything quite yet. Just notice where it's moving in the body. Observing if it's the ribs or the belly or the low back. Then start to deepen your breath, extending the length of time it takes to breathe in and out, and consciously sending your breath into the back of your rib cage as well as the belly, allowing it to expand the whole torso, and then as you exhale, letting everything deflate. Take about 3 rounds of breath here, and on each exhale, let go of a thought or distraction that doesn't have to do with your yoga practice. Gently start to tiptoe your fingers over to the right side of your mat, keeping your hips where they are, just finding a little side bend in this child's pose. You can stack your left hand over your right and keep sinking your left hip back down towards your heels. Take 1 full round of breath here. Gently tiptoe your fingers back through center and then over to the other side. Same thing here, right hand might stack over left as you sink your right hip back down towards the heel. Create that deep stretch in the side of the body. Imagine even breathing into the right side of your rib cage more. Gently tiptoe your fingers back to center. And from here, take an inhale to your tabletop position, coming to your hands and knees, shoulders stack over the wrists, hips over the knees. Moving into our cows and cats. So inhale, drop your belly, bring your gaze high, open through the heart, looking up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, find your cat pose, curl through the back, tuck the tailbone, belly button to spine. Inhale, drop your belly again, bring your gaze up, find your cow. And exhale, find your cat. One more round right here. Inhale, cow pose. And exhale, cat. Come back to your neutral spine. From here, extend just your left leg back behind you. Bend that leg to 90 degrees. So we're working into kind of a one-legged cat-cow here. As you inhale, make cow pose in your spine and lift your left heel to the ceiling. Imagine you could scratch the back of your head with your heel. Now, as you exhale, curl, bring that knee into the chest. Maybe you try to hover that right knee off the mat. As you inhale, the leg goes back up again, finding that deep back bend, cow pose with that leg. Then exhale, curl, knee comes into the chest, maybe hover that right leg. One more round, inhale, heel goes high, arch your back, look up. Then exhale, curl, knee comes into the chest, hover the knee. From here, inhale, just send your leg straight back. Allow that foot to land behind you and start to pivot on your right knee to come to our gate latch, facing the side of our mat. Arms come to a capital T. On an exhale, bring your left hand to the outside of the left leg. Reach your right fingertips up and over for a deep side bend. You can look up towards that hand, really breathe into the right side of the rib cage. On your next inhale, move back through your or capital T position. Then exhale, hands come down in front of you. Start to tiptoe your fingers forward, finding a puppy dog pose with gate latch legs. So here you might target that left inner thigh a little bit. Make sure the hips stay nice and high. Take one more round of breath right here. Start to walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. Then tiptoe your hands all the way back towards the front of your mat. Then draw your left knee into your tabletop position. From here, we'll move into the other side. So right leg will extend back behind you. Bend that leg to 90 degrees. Moving into those cows and cats. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the heel to the ceiling, activate the back of your right leg. Then exhale, curl, knee comes into the chest, hover your left knee off the floor. Again, inhale, start to lift that heel to the ceiling, arch the back, look up. And exhale, curl, knee comes into the chest, curl. One more round, inhale, heel comes up to the ceiling, really arch, engage the glutes. Then exhale, curl, maybe hover that knee, engage your low abs. Inhale, extend the leg straight back behind you. Plant that foot, pivot on your left knee to come to your capital T shape in your gate latch facing the other side. Right hand comes to the outside of the right leg. Left arm starts to reach up and over on an exhale. Create that deep side body stretch here, opening through the left side of your rib cage, creating more space. Inhale, move through your capital T shape. Exhale, puppy dog on this side. Hands come down to the floor, walk forward. Let the chest drop down, tailbone stays high. Take another round of breath here. Imagine melting your sternum towards the floor, opening through the shoulders. Inhale, start to tiptoe your hands back underneath you, then towards the front of your mat. This time, leave your right leg straight behind you to tuck the toes. Step your left foot back to find a high plank. From here, just lift your right leg off the mat. Taking a moment here, keep the hips square. Make sure the right knee still points down. Activate the back of that leg. One more inhale here. Exhale, right foot comes down. Inhale, left foot comes off the mat. Keep the internal rotation of the leg. Hip stays square to the floor. One more inhale. Exhale, let the foot come down. Take one final inhale in this high plank. And exhale, downward dog. Send the hips up high, opening through the fronts of the shoulders. And you can pedal out for a moment if you want. Just loosening up the calves, feeling around in the ankles to see how they are today. Imagine melting your belly and rib cage a little closer to the thighs to expand through the front. Take a moment of stillness in this downward facing dog. Hips lift up nice and high to the ceiling. Palms and all 10 fingers press into the floor. On your next inhale, reach your right leg high. Find a three-legged dog. To open the hips, bend the knee.
Take a moment here, just find a little movement, targeting the front of that hip. One more round of breath here. On your next inhale, straighten your right leg square off the hips. Exhale, bring your right knee to your right tricep as you shift towards a high plank. So feeling the obliques engage nice and strong, stacking the shoulders over the wrists. On your next inhale, come back to your three-legged dog. Lift the right leg high. And exhale, right foot meets the left, downward dog. Next inhale, left leg reaches high. Find your three-legged dog for a moment. Open the hips, bend the knee, circle the ankle. Whatever movement feels good here for another round of breath. Inhale, straighten the legs square off the hips. And exhale, left knee to left tricep, moving through that high plank position again. Maybe even take a moment to play with what it feels like to shift your weight forward and back in this position. On your next inhale, send that leg high again, three-legged dog. And exhale, downward dog, left foot meets the right. Bring your gaze forward, start to walk your feet to the top of your mat. Feet come hip-width distance underneath you, ragdoll. Now we've been twisting this ragdoll this week, and we're going to do the same thing with a little addition today. So take your left hand underneath your face, start to bend your left knee, reach your right fingertips high to the sky as you inhale, opening the chest to the side of the room. As you exhale, see if your right hand can come behind your back to find a half bind. So with this bind, the hand comes to that inside hip crease of the left leg. Once you grab on, you might notice that you can start to spiral your chest. This might be enough for you, but if you want to work into a full bind, your left arm will reach underneath the left leg. You can bend that left leg a lot. Left hand then reaches towards the right hand to grab. Maybe you try to extend the arms and open the heart a little bit more. Wherever you are, we have one more breath. If you found a bind, inhale, gently release. Left hand comes to the floor, right fingertips reach high. Then exhale, right hand comes down to the floor to replace the left hand, shifting right to the other side. So right leg bends. Inhale, reach the left fingertips high. Taking the same option here, you might exhale into your half bind, hooking the right hand or left hand into the right hip crease. You might find a full bind, reaching that right arm under your right leg to grab the left hand. Once you have that grip, you might start to reach your arms long, extending the head to the front of the mat. One more round of breath here. Gently release your bind if you took one. Inhale, reach your left fingertips to the ceiling. And exhale, left hand comes down to the floor. Take a moment to bend both knees gently. Let your head hang heavy. Shake it yes and no, taking a second in this symmetrical ragdoll. Then keep your bend in the knees. Start to roll up through the spine one vertebra at a time. Let your head be the last thing to come up. Once you arrive, take a big shoulder roll up and back. Expand through the front of the body. And step your feet together underneath you. Find your standing mountain pose, Tadasana. Feet root down into the floor. Crown of the head reaches to the ceiling, very active in the legs and core. As you inhale, reach your arms high. Let your gaze follow. And exhale, hands come to heart center. Take a moment, bow your chin, close your eyes. Set an intention for your practice today. Whatever you would like to dedicate it to, whatever you would like to focus your mind on. We'll seal that intention with a breath. So take a deep inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. Seal the lips, breathe in and out through the nose. Create a little constriction at the back of the throat, initiating your Ujjayi breath here. Remembering this can create an oceanic sound as a result of the path of your breath. Take about 3 or 4 full breaths right here and let this Ujjayi breath start to create heat within the body. Gently blink your eyes open, moving into our Surya Namaskar A, our Sun A. Inhale, reach the arms up nice and high, let your gaze follow. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips, take your forward fold. Inhale, find a halfway lift, lengthen the spine, remember extending through the crown of your head. As you exhale, plant your palms, step back into a high plank, pausing here. Take an inhale, shift your weight forward really far. Now you can always bring your knees down without changing the height of your tailbone. As you exhale, we lower into our chaturanga, pausing here. So aim for that 90-degree bend in the arms. Active, active legs. Take one more inhale in this chaturanga. And exhale to the floor with control. Untuck the toes underneath you. As you inhale, find a baby cobra with your chest as you lift your right leg. So right leg and chest lift off the floor. Elbows stay hugged into the body. Top of the left foot presses down. Take one more inhale here. Lift a little higher. And exhale, release the chest and leg. Now we do the other side. Inhale, baby cobra in the chest. Left leg lifts up. Engage the back of the body. Think about initiating from the left glute. One more inhale. Exhale, release down. This time both legs. Inhale, cobra in the chest. Both legs lift off the mat. Keep the knees pointed towards the floor. Hug the elbows in. Final inhale. Maybe hover the hands. And exhale, release the chest down. Inhale, press through a tabletop position, all fours. Then exhale, tuck the toes, send the hips high, downward dog. Take 3 full Ujjayi breaths in this downward dog once you arrive. One more breath. Bring your gaze forward, step your feet to the top of the mat, toes come to touch underneath you. Inhale, find your halfway lift, lengthen the spine, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up to the sky, let your gaze follow, and exhale right back into our forward fold, Uttanasana, bring the body low. Inhale, find a half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, plant the palms, step back into your high plank. Inhale, shift your weight forward again, shoulders past the wrists. Exhale, chaturanga. This time as you inhale, we find our upward dog. Pull the chest through, come to the tops of the feet. Kneecaps are off the mat, the legs are super active. As you exhale, send your hips high, downward facing dog. 2 full Ujjayi breaths. Bring your gaze forward, travel your feet. Maybe you try hopping to the top of your mat. Toes come to touch underneath you. Inhale, find your halfway lift, lengthen your spine, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. Bend your legs, reach your arms up nice and high. Make sure your weight is shifted back towards your heels so that you can see your toes underneath you. From here, shift your weight over to your right leg, draw your left knee into your chest. We're finding eagle legs here, so cross your left thigh over the right. You can either leave this foot hovering or hook the foot around the right calf. You can leave the arms up or bring them to heart center. Keep the torso nice and tall, 1 round of breath. Inhale, keep your bottom leg bent as you draw your left knee into your chest. As you exhale, we're moving to a warrior 3 with a bent standing leg. So keep the knee right over the toes, kick your left foot back behind you, try to keep a long spine. Bend a little deeper into that front leg. Exhale, let your left leg start to land behind you, setting up for warrior 1. So that heel spirals down to the floor and you inhale, reach the arms up. Keeping the right hip back, right shoulder back, left hip forward. Take an inhale, maybe a little back bend here. Exhale, hands come down to frame that right foot. Now lift the left heel off the mat. As you inhale, we come to a 3-legged plank. So bring your right leg back, hover it off the floor. As you exhale, bring your right knee to your right tricep. We've been here before. Now you can either stay here or try finding chaturanga in the arms, resting your right thigh on your right tricep. On your next inhale, come back to straighten your arms. Step your right foot back to your high plank. Exhale, take a vinyasa or just press back to your downward dog. Remembering that vinyasas in this practice are always optional, doing whatever you need. 1 full Ujjayi breath once you find your downward dog. Bring your gaze forward, travel your feet to the top of the mat, toes come to touch underneath you. Inhale, find a halfway lift, lengthen the spine, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose again, Utkatasana, bend the legs, reach the arms up nice and high. This time we shift our weight over to our left leg so that the right leg can hover off the mat. Eagle right leg, so right leg crosses over the left. Maybe you hover the foot, maybe you wrap the foot around the calf. Hands might come to heart center. 1 round of breath in these eagle legs, sitting nice and low. Inhale, start to draw the right knee into the chest. Keep the left leg bent. As you exhale, it's our bent leg warrior 3. So right leg extends back behind you, your body tips forward, left leg stays bent. See if you can bend it a little bit more. One more inhale here. Exhale, start to land your right leg behind you, warrior 1 legs. Inhale, reach the arms up, full warrior 1. Take a moment to square everything off. So pull the left hip and shoulder back, right hip is forward. Take an inhale, find a little back bend to open the heart to the ceiling. Exhale, hands come down to frame that left foot in a low lunge. That right heel comes off the mat. Inhale, 3-legged plank. Left leg comes back, hovering off the mat. As you exhale, left knee, left tricep. Now, you might stay here. You might bend those elbows to chaturanga, resting the knee on your arm. From here, inhale, straighten the arms. Step the left leg back into high plank, and vinyasa or press back to a downward dog. Moving through that flow. Reconnecting with your breath on every vinyasa that we do. Take 2 full Ujjayi breaths here. Bring your gaze forward, travel to the top of your mat. Toes come to touch underneath you. Inhale, find your halfway lift, lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, second to last chair of the day. Bend those legs, reach the arms up nice and high. This time we're working into our full eagle. Left leg will be on top first. So shift your weight to the right. Left leg draws into the chest, cross one thigh over the other. Hook the foot around the calf or not. From here, we find eagle arms. So cross the right arm over the left. Right over left. Bend the elbows. Bring either the palms together or wrap around the shoulders. Wherever you are, take a round of breath. Keep lifting the elbows away from your chest. Sit deeper into your legs. As you inhale, draw the left knee into your chest. Start to straighten your right leg this time. As you exhale, we find traditional warrior 3 in the legs. Eagle arms. So right leg stays straight, left leg extends back. Eagle arms, keep reaching forward. Take one more deep inhale here. Exhale, start to bend your right leg, reach the left leg really far back to land in our warrior 1 legs again. Bring that torso upright. Take an inhale here. Keep your eagle arms as you reach your fingertips towards the ceiling. As you exhale, we find humble warrior with eagle arms. Bring your right shoulder towards your right knee, allowing the fingertips to reach forward and towards the floor. For a little extra fun, you might slide your right shoulder inside of your right leg to get a little more hip opener. Wherever you are, take one more full breath. Keep your eagle arms as you inhale. Start to bring your torso all the way back up. Then exhale, release your arms down by your sides. Inhale, reach the arms up to the sky, traditional warrior 1, Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale, hands come down to frame the right foot, low lunge. This time, let your back knee come down and untuck the toes behind you. Inhale, reach the arms up, Anjaneyasana. Drop the hips down nice and low. We're targeting the front of the left hip. On an exhale, cactus your arms. Find a little back bend here. Open the heart to the ceiling. Inhale, reach the arms up once more. Exhale, half splits, Ardha Hanumanasana. Option today to go into full splits if that's within your practice. Remember, you can always take blocks underneath your hands. You can also slide a block underneath your hips for a little extra support. If you choose to work on full splits, remembering to keep yourself supported with your arms and also keep your hips square. It's very easy to open the hips up in splits. It's a lot harder to pull that right hip back and then drop the hips down. Wherever you choose to go, you have a couple more breaths. If you're in half splits, make sure you're still pulling your right hip up and back. Your collarbone is still reaching towards the toes. One more round of breath here. Everyone who's in full split, start to come back to your half splits, bending your back leg, dragging your right leg back. Everyone start to inhale forward, bending your right leg for our lizard pose. So both hands come inside of your right leg, toe heel the foot outward slightly. Now today we're going to be working to a different place from our lizard than we have before. So first I want you to just focus on stretching out that back hip, as well as getting low inside of that right leg. So you might try coming down to your forearms, but simultaneously see if you can squeeze your right knee in towards you. So we're feeling that contact of the leg into the arm still. Wherever you are, take 2 more rounds of breath. Gently start to come back to your hands if you were on your forearms. Now this next part has a few different options you can go to. We're going to engage our back leg and lift that kneecap off the mat. Now you can either work on your high plank, hovering your foot off the mat here, or if you want to work in the first step of our running man, you can start to walk your hands back so that your hands can find a chaturanga shape underneath you. Now this is pretty far back, you have to hook your shoulder under the leg. From here, you might tuck your left elbow into that left hip and try hovering your right leg off the floor. So we're in chaturanga arms, that left elbow's underneath the hip, right leg is resting on the right arm. Wherever you are on your next inhale, step back into chaturanga or high plank, move through a vinyasa. Take a breath, refocus the mind. That's honestly one of the hardest ways to get into a running man, but it's a really good way to see if you have control. So take a couple deep breaths in your downward dog. One more breath. Bring your gaze forward, gently step your feet to the top of the mat, toes come to touch underneath you. Inhale, find a halfway lift, lengthen the spine, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up to the sky, let your gaze follow, and exhale, hands come to heart center. Moving on to our second side, inhale, chair pose, bend the legs, reach the arms up nice and high. This time we shift to eagle on the other side. So left foot is our base, draw the right knee into the chest, start to cross the right thigh over the left, don't tip over like I just did. Wrap your foot around or don't, whatever feels good for you today. For our arms, it's left arm over right, left over right. Bend your elbows. Find the palms together or wrap the hands around the shoulders. Take 2 breaths in this eagle, elbows away from the chest. Think vertical forearm here. On your next inhale, start to draw your right knee into your chest, straightening your left leg. As you exhale, it's warrior 3, eagle arms. Right leg kicks back, left leg stays straight, tip the body forward. Think about reaching the fingertips forward, nice and strong, capital T in the body. Take 1 more inhale here. Exhale, start to bend your left leg, send the right leg far behind you to land in your warrior 1 legs. Bring your chest up as you inhale, keeping the eagle arms. Maybe find a gentle back bend. Then exhale, humble your eagle arms. So bringing the shoulder down to the knee, maybe you slide the shoulders inside of your left leg. The head can drop if that feels good. Wherever you are, take another full round of breath. Inhale, start to bring your torso upright, keep the eagle. Exhale, release the arms down by the sides. Inhale, reach the arms up, Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale, hands come down to frame that foot, low lunge. Let your back knee come down and untuck the toes. Inhale, find your Anjaneyasana. Reach the arms up, hips drop nice and low. As you exhale, it's our cactus, little back bend here. So think about shining the heart to the ceiling, open through the front of your body. Inhale, reach the arms up once more. Exhale, half splits, Ardha Hanumanasana. You can move into your full splits if you did it on the first side. So sliding that foot forward as the back leg straightens. Remembering working on squareness of the hips here. So shifting your weight up, pull the left hip back, then drop the hips back down again. Wherever you are, we have around 3 to 4 breaths in our full splits or half splits. Thinking about your alignment of the legs. Even if you're in full splits, think about flexing your front foot and pulling the left pinky toes back towards your face. Take about 1 more full round of breath. Full splits, move back into your half splits. Then everyone inhales and shifts forward into our lizard pose. Both hands come inside of your left leg, keeping either on the hands or coming down to the forearms. Trying to keep the connection of left leg and left arm, so keep squeezing the knee in towards you. Take about 3 breaths here, drop the hips down nice and low. Gently start to come back to your hands if you were on your forearms. Now remember our two options here. We're going to engage our back leg to tuck the toes and lift the knee. You can either keep your arms straight and work on hovering that foot, or you can walk your arms back, tucking your left shoulder under the leg. Feel enough bend in the arms and that they're far enough back that the right elbow can make contact with that right hip. From here, you might hover that foot, finding chaturanga arms. Your back foot is still on the floor. Wherever you are, next inhale, step that foot back, move through a vinyasa. Regain your breath, refocus your mind. Take a couple deep rounds of breath here. Bring your gaze forward. Gently hop or step your feet to your malasana at the top of your mat. So your yogi squat, feet come around hip width or mat width distance, heels are in, toes are out, hands come inside of the legs, elbows press into the knees. You can always take a block underneath your tailbone for a little extra support. Now, as you guys stay in malasana, just to open the hips a little, I'm going to break down running man and kind of all the steps for it so that when we get to it within this flow, you can get into a little quicker. So the first way we're going to get into it eventually is from that lizard pose. So tucking the shoulder under, remembering the key here, elbow to hip. There's an option to sometimes detach that arm, but today we're going to take elbow to hip. So you want to lower yourself down, and here's that weight shift. You want to shift so far forward that you can lift that leg. From here, you might shift forward even more to lift your back leg. Final step, if I don't knock over furniture, is straightening that front leg as well. So that's the first way to get into it. The second way we'll be doing it is from a three-legged dog, which sometimes people find a little easier. So from your three-legged dog, you'll be lifting your leg up, moving directly knee to tricep, bending the elbows, hooking the elbow in the hip, and then straightening the leg. So just so you're aware, that's kind of where we're going eventually. Those are the two transitions we're going to be looking at. So if you're still in your malasana, let your hands come down to the floor, straighten the legs for a second, turn your toes in. Just take a second to cha-cha the legs. Remembering that that running man is optional throughout your entire practice. You can always skip it whenever you want. Bring your feet together underneath you, toes come to touch in a traditional forward fold. Inhale, find a halfway lift, lengthen the spine. And exhale, plant the palms, step back into your downward dog, just lifting the hips up nice and high. Let's take 3 cleansing breaths here. Deep inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. Inhale through the nose. Open mouth, let it go. Final one, inhale. And exhale, let it go. Find your Ujjayi breath again. On your next inhale, reach your right leg high. Exhale, step through between your hands, setting up for a crescent lunge. So back heel presses forward. Inhale, reach the arms up. Same alignment as warrior one, in that we pull the right side back, left side forward. Bring your hands to heart center here. Take an inhale, find some length through your spine. As you exhale, left elbow towards the outside of the right thigh, finding a little twist. Allow that elbow to give you leverage to rotate the spine more. Maybe you extend the arms here. Maybe you reach the right arm behind the back and the left arm under the right leg to find a bind. All our options. Remember, stop at the point that your body needs to stop today. Take one more round of breath here. If you have a bind, gently release it, extending the arms high. Everyone inhale, square off your crescent lunge, bringing everything back to center, arms reach up. As you exhale, find your warrior two. Capital T in those arms, pressing the right knee outward to engage your outer hip rotators. Inhale, flip your front palm, reverse your warrior. Reach the right fingertips up and back. Find that deep side bend through the body. Keep pressing into the right knee. One more inhale here. And exhale, extended side angle. Right elbow comes to the knee, left arm sweeps across the body. Now options here today. You can slide your right hand down to the floor if you want. You can half bind, wrapping the left arm around the back inside of the right hip crease. You can also reach the right hand under the leg to grab onto your left hand for a full bind. If you have that full bind, maybe you work into a bird of paradise if that's in your practice. So if you want to try bird, You're going to shift your gaze down towards your right foot. You're going to step that left foot forward in a bit of a leap of faith. From there, shift your weight over to your left leg. Hover just the heel off the mat first of that right foot. Now, keeping the bind, start to bring the torso upright until that knee is drawn into the side of your body. That might be enough. Otherwise, you can straighten that leg if you're feeling really fancy today. Wherever you choose to go, take one more breath. If you're still in your extended side angle, think about lengthening the right side of your body. If you're in a bird, start to make your way down the way you went in. Keep the bind until the very end. Stepping your left foot back. We're all in our extended side angle. Releasing that bind, sweeping your left arm across if you took it. Inhale, move back up through a warrior two. Straighten through the right leg, pivot the toes. Then bring the heels in, toes out. So we're facing the side of our mat for a star pose. Reaching the arms up nice and high. Energy through the feet and through the fingertips. As you exhale, find your goddess, bend your legs, press the knees wide, hips drop nice and low. We do that 2 more times. Inhale, straighten the legs, reach the arms high. Exhale, bend the knees, drop the tailbone. Inhale, reach it up again, straighten. And exhale, bend. From here, bring both hands to your knees, slightly on the inside. Let your left shoulder drop down, finding a little twist here. Now you'll notice you can use your hands to press your knees out a little bit, give yourself a deeper hip opener. Inhale, move back through center. Exhale, right shoulder comes down, opposite twist. Same thing here, using the leverage of your arms to press the knees side. Take an inhale, come back to center, find your star pose again, reaching the arms up, straightening the legs. Exhale, Skandasana to our left leg. So bend your left leg, bring your hands to the floor, let your right heel come down, toes up. Drop the hips down nice and low. You can stay here. You can bring your hands to heart center. If dropping the hips isn't an option, you can always keep your side foot planted, hands at heart center here. Wherever you choose to go, take about 3 to 4 breaths. If you feel like binding today, you can always hook your left shoulder inside of your left leg, reach both arms long, finding that contact. Maybe you take the arms behind the back and bind. Again, every step is optional. Go to whatever depth you need. Take about 2 more breaths here. Make sure your right leg is still very active. If you found the bind, inhale, release your bind, then bring your hands back to heart center. Now, our next transition is we're making our way to our lizard at the front of the mat. So the trick with this, you can try it with no hands or you can walk the hands along the floor. We're going to start to shift the weight in between our 2 legs, keep the body low. Eventually you shift your weight to your right, then pivot so both hands come inside of your right leg. Now, here's our 2 chances going into our running man. So first one, you can either stay in this lizard, enjoy a wonderful hip stretch, or give this a go. So walking those hands back, you're going to bend those elbows a lot. Wait until you feel your left elbow in contact with your hip. From there, you inch your right foot back to hover the foot off the floor. From there, maybe you play with shifting your weight forward to lift that back leg. Super active in both legs. Maybe you try straightening your front leg. Wherever you are, take 1 more breath. Let your back leg land. Bend your right leg again. Straighten the arms and step that foot back into your lizard. Hardest transition possible to get out of it. Good work, you guys. From here, as you inhale, find a 3-legged dog. So lift your hips high, right leg reaches to the ceiling. Now here's our second chance to get right into it the other way. Like I said, this one can feel more accessible. So as you exhale, start to shift your weight forward. Bring your right knee to your right tricep. You might stop there. You might bend the arms, hooking the left elbow under. You might shift your weight forward, lifting the leg. Wherever you are, take 2 more breaths. Maybe try extending. If you're in your running man, land your back foot, step back to a chaturanga. Move through a vinyasa. If you're in your high plank, you can move through a vinyasa or just go back to your downward dog. Take a breath in your down dog. Bring your gaze forward, step your feet to the top of the mat, toes come to touch underneath you. Inhale, find a halfway lift, lengthen the spine. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up to the sky, let your gaze follow. And exhale, hands come to heart center. So giving our arms a break, we'll take one standing balance here today, our tree pose. So we'll be standing on the left leg first. So shift your weight to the left leg, hover your right foot off the mat and find external rotation in that leg. You can either bring your foot to the inside of your ankle, inside of your calf, or all the way up to the inner thigh. So you're essentially making a number 4 shape in those legs. Now from here, you can extend your branches if you want. Keep rooting down through your left leg. Now really focus on the pressing of the right foot into the left inner thigh. This is going to be really important in the next variation we try. Now allow your right hand to come to the top of your right knee or thigh. From here, start to press your foot into your left thigh even more. Switch your hips to a little over to the left. Start to reach your left fingertips up and over, trying to find a little side bend. That right arm is actively pressing into the right thigh. Right foot presses into the left leg, hips press left. Keep working into the side bend for one more round of breath. It's really hard. Inhale, try to make your way back to center without tipping over, reaching both arms high once more. And exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Inhale, draw your right knee into your chest. And exhale, right foot meets the left, standing mountain pose Tadasana. Release your arms down by your sides for a moment. You can even close your eyes to regain your focus. So you get to do all of that on the other side. Yay. So gently blink your eyes open. Inhale, reach your arms up nice and high. Let your gaze follow. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips, forward fold. Inhale, find a halfway lift, lengthen the spine. Exhale, downward dog. Plant the hands, step the feet back, hips go nice and high. Take a couple breaths in this down dog. If you need to take cleansing breaths, feel free to do that. You can also maintain your Ujjayi breath or re-find it in case you lost it. On your next inhale, reach your left leg high, 3-legged dog. Exhale, step through between your hands, setting up for crescent. Press your right heel forward. As you inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Take an inhale, lengthen your spine. And exhale, right elbow towards the outside of the left knee, finding your prayer twist. Twisting your body towards that right leg, using the contact of your right elbow into the left leg to twist. Maybe you extend the arms. Maybe you take a bind, reaching the left arm behind you and right arm under to give yourself a handshake. Wherever you are, take 2 more breaths. Keep reaching through the crown of your head. Gently release your bind if you have it, extending both arms again. Then everyone make your way back to your crescent lunge. Torso comes upright, both arms reach high, inhale. Exhale, warrior 2, capital T in the arms, gaze over your left fingertips. Inhale, flip your front palm, reverse your warrior, left fingertips reach up and back. Find a deep side bend here, open through the left rib cage. Take one more inhale here, bend deeper in your left leg. Exhale, extended side angle. Elbow comes to the knee, right arm sweeps across the body. Now options for all those variations on this side. You can slide your left hand to the floor if you want. You can take a half bind, right hand behind the back. You can take a full bind, reaching under with your left arm. You can also work into your bird by keeping your bind. Shift your gaze down towards that foot. Step your right foot forward so you're in kind of a very bent leg forward fold. Start hovering your weight over towards your right leg, eventually standing all the way up. Opposition is your friend here, leg into arms, arms into leg. Maybe you extend that leg, maybe not, no big deal either way. Keep your focus wherever you are. If you're in a bird, bend your leg again. Start to make your way back the way you went in. So keep your bind, hinging the body forward, left leg steps to the floor. You still have your bind as your right leg steps all the way back. Everybody releases their binds to extend the arms again, extended side angle. Inhale, make your way back to your warrior 2. Straighten your left leg, pivot the toes. This time keeping both feet parallel, so we're facing the side of the mat. Bring the hands to the hips and inhale, open the heart to the ceiling. Exhale, hinge forward into your Prasarita. So let both hands come towards the floor. Now today I encourage you to take the chaturanga variation here. So walking the hands backward, in between your feet. Let your fingertips still point forward and bend your arms like you're in a chaturanga. Let the crown of your head release down towards the floor. Make sure your weight is shifted towards your toes. Super active legs here. Keep the core strong. Imagine pressing the floor away from you with your arms. Take 2 more breaths. Start to walk your hands back underneath your face. Inhale, find a halfway lift. Now pivot your right toes to externally rotate and start bending into that right leg to find Skandasana. So dropping the hips down nice and low, you can flex that left foot if you want. You can also keep that side foot planted with a slight lift of the hips. Your hands can be on the floor or they can be at heart center. If you want to work into a bind, you'll hook your right shoulder inside of your right leg. Extend the right arm out to the side as the left arm extends to the ceiling. Think you're opening the heart. From here, that right arm reaches back and around the right leg. Left arm bends to grab that right hand. If you make it to a full bind, you can start to extend those arms, lifting the heart to the ceiling. Wherever you are, let's take 2 more breaths here. If you have a bind, gently release it, extending the arms, then bringing your hands to heart center. Now here's our transition to lizard at the front of the mat. Hands or no hands, start to make your way through the middle, pivot towards the front, let both hands land inside of your left leg. Nice, you guys. So from here, first running man option, walking the hands back underneath the leg, so shoulder tucks under. Bending the arms so much that your right elbow comes in contact with your hip, then kind of wiggling your right foot or left foot back, shifting the weight forward, lifting the right leg. Maybe you straighten that left leg. Wherever you are, take 1 more round of breath. Land your back leg, bend your left arm or leg, then straighten your arms, step back into a high plank, move through a vinyasa, or just press back to your downward dog. Take a breath in your downward dog. We know where we're going next. So thinking about visualizing where we're going into that running man. Inhale, reach your left leg high. Exhale, start to shift yourself forward. Knee comes to that tricep. Remember, you can stay here. Otherwise, bending those arms, shift, lift that back leg, straighten your front leg. Wherever you go, eventually landing your back leg, landing in a chaturanga, and then moving through your vinyasa. Whatever feels good for you. Remember, you can skip your vinyasa entirely. You can go to down dog, whatever feels good. 1 breath in down dog. Bring your gaze forward, step your feet to the top of the mat, toes come to touch underneath you. Inhale, find a halfway lift, lengthen, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up to the sky, and exhale, hands come to heart center. Working to our last standing pose of our practice, tree pose on the opposite side. Lift your left heel off the mat, root down through that right leg. External rotation in your left leg as you find the height, so you can either take foot to ankle, foot to inside of the calf, or foot to inner thigh. Take a moment to get situated here. Feel the contact, left foot pressing into right leg. That opposition is key here. Maybe you extend the arms, growing your branches. Maybe you start to work into that side bend. So start pressing your left foot into your right leg, shift your hips over to the right. Left hand comes to the top of the left leg. Right arm starts to reach up and over. All about opposition here. The more you reach left, the more you have to shift your body right. Find that side bend for 1 more full round of breath. Keep your drishti, your focal point. Inhale, start to bring your body back to center, reaching both arms high again. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Inhale, draw your left knee into your chest. And exhale, let that foot land. Take a moment here. Hands at heart center, allow your eyes to close. Just breathe, regain your intention, regain your focus. On your next inhale, surprise chair pose. Bend your legs, reach your arms up nice and high. Start to bend your legs even more as you work your way to a seat. So lowering yourself down, eventually reaching your arms forward, chest comes towards the thighs. Then you'll eventually let your hips come down to the floor, hands come down by the sides, just straightening out the legs. We made it to a seat, you guys. No more arm balances. Draw your right knee into your chest, cross it over, so you're finding right foot over left thigh. Then bend your left leg, draw it in towards you. Allow the right hand to come behind you. Left elbow comes to the outside of the right knee. Take an inhale here, find some length through your spine. Then exhale, start to twist, gaze over your right shoulder. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. Final inhale. And exhale, gently release your twist. Bring your hands over to the left side, finding a baby push-up as your counter pose. Then pressing yourself back up to seated. This is something we worked on last class, but it might be new for some of us. It's a fun little glute and piriformis stretch. If you decide you hate this, I encourage taking a double pigeon instead, or an equally opening hip stretch. So we're going to take essentially a half pigeon shape in our legs, but upright. So you're drawing that knee into your chest. Your shin is horizontal as possible. From here, if you can, you're going to hook your foot inside your left elbow and your right arm around the leg. So you're literally giving yourself a little hug. Like I said, if this one's not accessible, you can always take a double pigeon and fold over the legs. You can even hop to your back for a figure 4 pose, whatever feels good. Just taking a moment here, you can try shifting your weight side to side. You can play with straightening and bending your leg just slightly. You're not working towards a straight leg, but just working towards a horizontal shin. Take about 2 more breaths in whatever piriformis or hip stretch you're in right now. Final inhale. As you exhale, gently release your leg, extending both legs out in front of you, coming out of whatever hip stretch you're in. Taking a Paschimottanasana here, so flexing the feet, engaging the legs. Inhale, reach the arms up high. Then exhale, fold over them, grabbing on wherever feels good. Today you can take either a rounded back Paschimottanasana or use your active forward fold to pull with the arms and extend the spine, feeling the collarbone reach towards the toes. So doing what feels best for you today. Take about 3 or 4 more breaths. Final inhale. And exhale, gently release, rolling back up through the spine, drawing the left knee into your chest once you arrive. Cross that foot over the thigh and bend your right leg underneath you. This time, left hand comes behind you and right elbow comes to the outside of the left knee to hook. Take an inhale, find some length, and exhale, start to twist, gazing over your left shoulder. Inhale, lengthen the spine again. Exhale, twist again. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. Final inhale. Exhale, gently release your twist. Both hands come to the right side for your baby push-up here. Just letting the chest come down nice and low. Then make your way back to seated. Now, same thing here. You can either take a double pigeon or figure 4, or if you want to work into the new one, you're going to draw your leg into your chest. Left foot hooks inside your right elbow. Left arm reaches around that leg. So again, giving yourself a little hug. Remembering you can also keep the leg at a slightly less extreme angle if that hooked elbow isn't available to you. Wherever you are, drawing the leg in as close as you can. If you're in your double pigeon, you can always fold over the legs. If you're in your half pigeon, making sure the hips are staying square and shifting your weight a little towards your straight leg. Wherever you are, taking about 3 more breaths. Final inhale.
And exhale, gently release out of whatever hip stretch you're in right now, working into an Upavista Konasana next, our wide-legged forward fold. So taking your legs out to the sides of the body, knees to the ceiling, feet are flexed, keeping super active on this one. Take an inhale, find some length through the crown of your head. Maintain the length in the spine as you walk yourself forward. So making it a goal to keep this length and only going as far as you can keep that. So that if that means staying up higher on your hands, no big deal. Try to keep your legs active in this one, so knees are still to the ceiling, feet are flexed. Take about 5 deep, slow breaths here. On your next inhale, start to walk your hands back up nice and slow. Shift your weight back slightly to bring your legs back in front of you, squaring yourself to the front of your mat if you turned. From here, extend both legs out, squeeze your legs together, reach your arms forward. Just start to roll to your back as slow as you can control. So keeping that articulation through the spine, reaching the arms forward, press the heels into the mat. Nice, you guys. Once you reach your back, bending your legs so your feet come flat to the floor, setting up for 2 back bends. Arms will come down by the side, pressing them into the floor, taking a bridge first. So as you inhale, press your feet into the floor as you lift your hips, engaging the glutes and engage the hamstrings. Imagine you're squeezing a block between your legs. If it feels good, you can tuck one shoulder then the other underneath you to bind and lift the hips up a little higher. Let's take 2 to 3 more breaths right here. Final breath. Gently release your bind if you have it. And on an exhale, everyone articulate through the spine back to the floor, lowering the hips down. We'll take 1 more back bend here, so you can either do your bridge again or you can work to a full wheel. Take a second if you need to windshield wiper the legs, if you need to take some internal rotation, whatever feels good. So thinking about which one you're going to do. If you're taking your bridge again, set up the same way. If you want to work into your full wheel, then make sure your feet are still set the same. So they're hip width distance, toes are forward. You'll reach the arms back behind you. Fingertips will point towards your feet. Hands plant by the shoulders. Everyone moves on an inhale. So if you're in your bridge or wheel, as you inhale, lift your hips up, working into your second back bend. If you're in your wheel pose, really pushing with the legs here. Imagine opening through the fronts of the shoulders. If you're in your bridge, maybe you take your bind, maybe you try extending one leg then the other. Whatever feels good for you. We have 2 more breaths. Final inhale. Everyone lowers as gently as you can on your exhale, articulating through the spine again. Gently rock your knees side to side or just pause with your legs in the middle, whatever feels good to you. And from here, draw your right knee into your chest, extend your left leg long onto the mat. Flexing both feet nice and strong, working to our wind reliever. 2 options today. You can either wrap your arms around your shin, or you can flex your foot so the sole of your foot is to the ceiling and take your hands around that foot with a bent leg. Wherever you are, take an inhale, engage your left leg as well, so press that side down. As you exhale, pull your knee down and around the rib cage. So if you have your foot, it's almost like you're in a half happy baby or an upside down lizard. If you have around your shin, you'll still draw that knee in towards your armpits. So wherever you are, we're creating that compression in the hip, the compression in the side of the body. Take 2 more breaths here. Gently start to bend that leg if you have the foot to the ceiling and draw your knee back into the center of your body. Release your right arm to the side in a capital T shape. Take an inhale. As you exhale, cross your right leg over the body for your supine twist.
Allow your right shoulder to stay heavy. You can always lift the heart to square the shoulders and then lower back down. Your left arm can stay on your right leg or it can extend. Let your gaze shift over to the right if it's comfortable. Allow your eyes to close and try to be very passive here for 5 full breaths. On your next inhale, bring your gaze back to center and then your legs back to center. Draw both knees into your chest for a moment. Give yourself a little hug, maybe rock side to side. Then we'll switch to the other leg. So keep your left leg drawn into your chest, right leg extends long. Flexing both feet, either wrapping your arms around your left shin or taking your hands to that foot, sole of the foot to the ceiling. Everyone takes an inhale. As you exhale, left knee towards the left armpit, thigh goes down and around the rib cage. Right side stays anchored down towards the floor, so make sure we're not rolling over to the left side. Both feet are flexed. Keep finding that compression in the hip and the side of the body. Take a couple more breaths right here. And gently start to release the foot if you have it. Everyone brings their leg back towards the midline. Left arm extends out to the side. Inhale. Exhale, cross the left leg over the body. Supine twist on your second side. Left shoulder stays heavy, untucking the shoulders. Maybe you let your gaze fall over to the left. Allow the eyes to close. You have 5 full breaths right here. And gently start to bring your gaze back to center first. Legs come back to center second. Draw your legs into your chest. Give yourself another little hug. Rock side to side, getting whatever last little bits of movement out. Maybe you circle the knees. And then as you feel ready, drawing yourself into one last tiny little ball. So wrapping arms around the legs, chin tucks into the chest, legs squeeze in towards the body, scrunch up your face, engage your feet. Take an inhale, squeeze it all even tighter, gather all your energy into the middle of you. And then exhale, Shavasana. Release your legs long onto the mat, arms released down by the sides, palms facing up. Take a moment to get yourself situated and allow your eyes to close. Let go of your entire practice, whatever worked, whatever didn't work today, let it all go. Let your mind release any extra thoughts, melt away on an exhale. Let your breath find its natural rhythm, whether it's in or out of the nose or mouth. And let the eyes relax and fall back into the socket, the jaw unclench. The tongue falls away from the roof of the mouth. In that same way, just work your way down your body, letting it melt, letting any tension release away from it. And for the next couple of minutes, just enjoy this Shavasana. If you feel ready to start waking up, start by deepening your breath. Deep inhales, deep exhales. Maybe start to wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes. Maybe let your head rock side to side. If it feels good, you can reach your arms back behind you, finding a good morning stretch from your fingers all the way down to your toes. Then draw your knees into your chest and make your way to a seat in whatever feels good, keeping your eyes closed, keeping your focus internal. Once you arrive in a seat, allowing your hands to come to heart center, allow your chin to bow. Take a moment to thank yourself for doing something good for your mind and body for an hour out of your day. The light within me meets, greets, and honors the light within you. Namaste. Great work, you guys. I think Kathy had to run because I ran over by about 8 minutes, so I hope you guys didn't have to be anywhere. I'm gonna unmute you guys. There's just a lot to talk about when it comes to Running Man, so.